Coming from a non-related bachelor degree, there was definitely a steep learning curve when I started studying music therapy. It's stressful enough to take on a master degree when you feel like you are the only small potato in class, and also studying music therapy online during the pandemic just added so much more pressure on us. And burnout is a common topic that we always discuss in our industry. If you are a student, healthcare industry intern, workers, or someone who wears different hats, I get it. I understand how stressful it can be. So today I want to share a few things about self-care as the student, as a musician, as a piano teacher, content creator, and therapist to be. Hey friends, welcome back to the channel. My name is Venus and I'm a second year music therapy student in Sydney. So before we get into it, I want to check in with you. How are you feeling? Like seriously, emotionally, are you feeling alright? As I'm filming this, I am in my second lockdown. It's not fun to be honest, and also my class just started back online again, so I don't know what's gonna happen if I can't graduate on time. But that's something to worry about later. So self-care. I feel like self-care is such a commercialized term nowadays that every time I think of it, I can only think of luxurious spa trips or like turning off your phone and spending a day in the forest doing meditation or something like that. But is this really what self-care is? Is that something that we should spend a lot of money on, like shopping therapy or even treating yourself a fancy dinner, etc.? So before I started studying music therapy, like a lot of people, I enjoyed listening to music or even creating music when I felt so stressed or overwhelmed. It was my way out, you know? That's why I was a bit skeptical and worried that if I turned music into my profession, I would ruin my hobby. And I've heard about stories like how registered music therapists are unable to just listen to any kind of music without associating that with what happened in the sessions. And luckily, that didn't happen to me yet. My clients cover a wide range of population and cultural backgrounds that I always have to learn many new songs thanks to them. And I'm able to protect the songs and playlists that I personally feel resonated with that I can keep private. Which leads to my point. I think self-care means setting boundaries. As Derek Sivers says, it's a hell yes or no. If you have to decide on what you need to do, if it's not a hell yes, then you should say no. Because every time you say yes to something, that means you are saying no to something else because you only have that much time and energy. And there is an opportunity cost behind that, because if you say yes to something that you don't really want to do, then you're wasting your time and energy that you would otherwise have spent on something that you think more worthwhile, right? So I feel like many people are not optimizing their productivity and performance because they are always saying yes to things that they don't want to do. But sometimes you don't have a choice, I get it. When you're at work, you have to suck it up, right? But sometimes we just get so lost in life that we are always chasing after the urgent things that we have to report on. And we forget about the important things that we really want to do deep down in our hearts. So the way I set clear boundaries and always remind myself of those boundaries is to reflect and review. Every week, every month, every quarter and every year, and take some time, sit down, and just to reflect on what happened during the past period. It's so crucial because you have to reflect on what worked and what didn't work and what we should focus on instead. Because if you're not aware, then you will keep saying yes to things that you don't want to do, and eventually you will forget your original dream, what you really want to do deep down in your heart. That's why I feel like reflection is just so important, that you need to refocus on the things that matter the most to you. And every month I set goals for me to work on, so I know what to do every single week and every single day. It's so much easier to say no when you know what's on the agenda for you. So as Derek Sivers says, it's a hell yes or no. Self-care means putting yourself first, and there is this famous safety mask theory that the flight attendants always say, you have to put on your safety mask first before you proceed to help others, right? And that applies to everything that you do, because your physical and mental health are the foundation of whatever you do. If you don't have the foundation, then you're not going to do anything because you're not well. If you're always tired, frustrated, overwhelmed, or exhausted, then how are you going to perform at your best version? It just doesn't work. That's why, as Stephen Butler says, sometimes being selfish is the most selfless thing that you can do for yourself. I think that's very true. And since the beginning of last year, I have been actively prioritizing my physical and mental health following what happened in the past. So after the lockdown was lifted in Sydney, I started boxing. It was such a good way to just release tensions, but also to get some cardio in while training my muscles, but more importantly, the mindset. I'm getting stronger physically and mentally. And I also got to listen to awesome music while I was in the studio. It was so great and it was the best self-care activity for me. So the takeaway here is to find out what works for you, what brings you energy, what makes you excited and anticipated to do. And for all the students out there, listen, it doesn't have to be luxurious or expensive. You can just take a long walk along the beach, or rewatching your favorite movie during the weekend, or just talk to friends. Just do things that bring you joy. You need to recharge, just like your phone. And another tip here is that whenever you feel stressed, it's always good to go back to the nature. And for all the healthcare workers, interns, students, you are your client's biggest assets. So take care of yourself first, alright? Self-care also means that you are playing the long game. That means you need to have regular maintenance, just like your car. You need to reset once in a while. You can stay up all night to finish your 3,000 word essay, but then you will need a few days to recover because of your lack of sleep. What you can do instead is to plan ahead and start early so that you don't stay up all night and you don't sacrifice your sleep. Maybe you can even learn a thing or two about time management or how to write an essay effectively, etc. because that's going to help you in the long term to boost your productivity and avoid burnout. And then you don't need to stay up all night or sacrifice your sleep later on because now you know the skill to be more productive and efficient, right? So the takeaway here is to think long term and plan ahead and always pick delayed gratification over short-term pleasure. So these are the things that I've learned about self-care when I started studying music therapy. If you have enjoyed this video, you would love this custom playlist that I created for you on personal development. Thanks for watching and I will see you guys next time.